The distress beacon had been silent for 72 hours. Command knew what that meant, another army swallowed by the hungry darkness of Kepler 442b. The galaxy's most feared Class 13 Deathworld had claimed its latest victims, leaving only questions and the metallic taste of dread in every strategist's mouth. Admiral Voss stared at the holographic display, watching the red dots that represented 10,000 elite soldiers fade one by one into gray static. The Terran Defense Corps had sent their finest, cybernetically enhanced warriors, battle-hardened veterans, soldiers who had conquered star systems and brought empires to their knees. Now they were nothing more than scattered data points on a screen, casualties of humanity's greatest miscalculation. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the surface," Communications Officer Lin announced, her voice barely above a whisper. The bridge fell silent except for the steady hum of life support systems. The transmission crackled to life, filled with static and something else, something that made seasoned officers step back from their consoles. It was laughter, but not the kind that brought joy. This was the sound of a mind dancing on the edge of sanity, a voice that had seen too much and somehow lived to tell about it. "This is Corporal Jake Morrison, ID number 77 Alpha 9, the voice rasped through the speakers. "I'm the last one. Do you hear me, Command? The last one standing on this godforsaken rock." Admiral Voss leaned forward, his weathered hands gripping the command chair. "Morrison, what happened down there? Report." A pause filled the communication channel, broken only by the sound of Morrison's ragged breathing. When he spoke again, his voice carried the weight of witnessed horrors. "You want to know what happened? I'll tell you what happened. We thought we were an army. We thought our technology, our training, our weapons made us gods among mortals. We were wrong. Dead wrong." The story that followed painted a picture of systematic destruction unlike anything in military records. Morrison described creatures that defied classification, beings that seemed to emerge from the planet's very consciousness, adapting to every weapon, every strategy, every desperate plan the soldiers devised. "They didn't just hunt us," Morrison continued, his voice growing distant. "They studied us. Learned from us. Made us obsolete." He told of how his squad leader, Sergeant Rodriguez, had looked into the eyes of something that shouldn't exist and whispered, "We're not the apex predators we thought we were." Those were his last words before the shadows claimed him. The jungle itself had turned against them. Trees that moved like living things, air that burned. Lungs, and gravity that shifted without warning. "This planet doesn't just kill you," Morrison explained. "It breaks you down piece by piece until you're begging for the mercy of death." But the worst part wasn't the creatures or the hostile environment. It was the realization that came too late. Humanity had never faced anything like this because they had never needed to evolve beyond their comfortable superiority. "We've been fighting children's games while this world was playing chess with the universe," Morrison said, his voice cracking with exhaustion and revelation. The final battle had been a massacre. Morrison watched from his hiding place as his commanding officer, General Hayes, stood defiant against impossible odds. "Even gods can bleed," Hayes had shouted before the darkness swallowed him whole. Morrison had survived not through skill or strength, but through pure, dumb luck and the planet's apparent desire to send a message. "You want to know the truth?" Morrison's voice came through the speakers one final time. "This world didn't just beat us. It taught us that we're still children playing with toys, pretending to be conquerors of the galaxy. Some lessons cost everything to learn." The transmission ended with Morrison's transport lifting off, carrying the sole survivor of humanity's greatest military defeat. As his ship disappeared into the black void of space, Admiral Voss realized that one soldier's return was more terrifying than 10,000 soldiers' silence. Morrison brought back something worse than death. He brought back the truth about humanity's place in a universe far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The Deathworld had spoken, and its message was clear: evolution never stops, even when you think you've reached the top.